So, I wanted to preface this video by talking about the movie itself. Of course, I'm talking about the Netflix Death Note movie, and how there's so many Death Note fans that have said, you know, well, I'm not going to watch the movie, or the movie's going to be terrible. And really, it's because the cast isn't Japanese, let alone Asian, right? That's probably the reason why. But, you know, I just wanted to talk about that for a second, because who cares, really? Because it's an adaptation, for one. Second, this is not the same story. You understand that, right? This is a different story altogether. It takes place in Seattle, Washington, okay? United States of America. The main character is not Light Yagami, alright? The main character is Light Turner, from the Turner family, alright? And L is going to be a black guy, alright? And now let's look at a different adaptation, right? The Attack on Titan live-action movie. Yeah, the entire cast was Japanese, yet the characters in the original source material, I think there's only like one Japanese character in there. So, why be okay with one and hate on the other? Is it... I understand there is some sort of inner workings within Hollywood that force these whitewashing movies, whatever the case may be. It's for Death Note, for this, as long as it maintains the same themes, right? I think it'll be fine, because Death Note itself is a good story, and an adaptation will have its own liberties, because it's still someone else's artwork that isn't the original author's or creator's artwork. Someone else's art, so they're expressing themselves with their own interpretation through that art. In the same way, if we were to damn Death Note for being a bad and inaccurate to the source material, then by that logic, let's ban, let's say, like, the Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's, right? There are changes in that movie that are not from the original source material and stuff like that, right? So let's shun that movie. Let's dismiss that movie, call it something else, you know, like, just why what makes Death Note different? Is it because it's based off of an anime, so everyone has to be... In that case, don't even dub anime. All right, let's not dub anime at all. Let's not give it its English translations, its Spanish translations, its French translations. Let's just get rid of the dubs. How about that? Look at the Batman movies. We're gonna, like, we've seen how many times the same origin story with a different spin, right? But each Batman story has a new take on the character that's different than the previous. And so, in the same way with this, let's see what this is gonna, like, how this is gonna work out, right? We had that live-action Death Note movie that was almost one-to-one with the manga and anime, and even then they changed things. No one blew up about that because it was made in Japan. It was with the Japanese cast. There was even the Death Note drama television show, right? Which, by the way, is pretty good. And that changes some things. Like, in that, Light isn't even a genius. He's just a normal dude. He's just like a normal kid. That's different, because that changes the dynamic between Light and L. Or at least it should, but it didn't really. It still felt the same. It still felt organic. So with this one, it's just a new interpretation. It's new, and so enjoy it. I think you should just enjoy it, and just take it for what it is. Let's see what's gonna happen with this. So, without any further ado, sorry about that. Just wanted to talk about that. Let's take a look at the trailer. kind of pick it apart after watching it and talk about more of this Death Note movie. And as a Death Note fan, I'm excited to check this out. I saw the teaser trailer that they released a while ago, and I'm intrigued. So let's do it. And boop.
All the people that make life miserable, make life dangerous. What if we can change things?
I like this design of the Death Note, by the way.
The human whose name is
looks
shall die.
It looks Shinigami-ish. Ooh.
Shall we begin?
Yo.
You're a death god.
Yes.
What exactly can I do with this Death Note?
Put your name down and see what happens.
What they want is a god. So let's give it to them.
Okay. Well, I first want to. Okay, so it's definitely ironically stylized. Even though, you know, the original Death Note is stylized, definitely, but this is like this is definitely a different take. But it's not a bad one. I like it. I really like the some of the changes. Like, okay, the Death Note itself. I really like this. So here's the original Death Note, like what it looks like originally from the manga, the anime, and even the live. That's the thing, the live action movie, the Japanese one. It essentially just took what it looked like in the manga and in the anime, just did that. What I like about this one is that it feels like, how can I put this? In the okay, so in the original in the Japanese movie, the live action one, it's like they just did Death Note cosplay, if that makes sense. I'm talking about the Death Note strictly. And then in this movie, it looks like it's the it's the live action version of the Death Note, if that makes sense. So like this looks like what the Death Note would look like if it was some notebook from the Shinigami realm. The detail on the corners right here, and it's a design that lets it be a part of the lore, and not just the Death Note story, but the lore, the mythology, the Shinigami realm, and that's what I like, because I'm so interested in what, like, more in what the Shinigami mythology is in Death Note. You know, we have a Shinigami mythology in a lot of different anime, right? And in Death Note there was one, but it wasn't focused on. Here it's not necessarily focused on, but it opens up the door to explore, you know, if that makes sense. That was not an intentional rhyme, even though it totally sounded like it was. There was another thing that caught my eye. Oh, I like this. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's Ryuk. I will say that's pretty cool for me, because I know the actor who is doing the motion capture and who's physically Ryuk. The voice is obviously Willem Dafoe, which is also a good pick. Oh, that was it. It was an audible thing. It wasn't a visual thing. So, with this Ryuk, the voice is... I don't know, the way he speaks, that it feels more of like this tempting, like very smooth talking, suggesting entity, I guess. Like, he feels more like this demon tempting light into using the Death Note, whereas in contrast to before, where he's more of just playful. So it's a bit different in that way, but I don't mind it, you know. It's just different. Here's another interesting thing. Using some sort of like history with the Shinigami, the death god, making it bringing it to get it's interesting. It's not, it's a different introduction to a death god. Like, it's like there was already, I guess, because if this is the, I'm curious now, because that's Ryuk, right? That's straight up Ryuk. So if he's not his own, like, if this is like saying, I don't know if this is suggesting that all death gods look like Ryuk, or if this is just, you know, Ryuk literally was there, you know, hundreds years ago, right? Hundreds of years ago. I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, here's what I'm talking about. I think this part. Hold on. Oh, you can't hear it. Stupid me.
The Death God.
Yes.
What exactly can I do with this Death Note?
Put your name down and see what happens.
See, like that. Like, it's very like, why don't you try it? Whereas before, it's Light tried it. Ryuk shows up. It's like, wow, you've used it a lot. And then Ryuk is just intrigued and like, you know, whoa, this guy, what's he gonna do, right? In this one, it seems like, from what I gather, this is just the trailer, but it seems like Ryuk is the one who kind of nudges Light into using it, whereas before Light was using it anyway, and Ryuk is just like, oh, what's he gonna do with it, right? Aside from that, I mean, okay, Akira. Of course, you know, there's the whole there's that thing where it's like, well, like Kira, if it's in Seattle, Washington, why is the name or the word Kira used, right? Because Kira is just like the it's killer, right? Kind of transliterated. But here, why would that be if it's in freaking Washington, right? That's so I'm curious about that. Like, why? Someone did suggest on another video, maybe Light is just maybe he's a weeaboo. Maybe. Or maybe it's something that pops up in those documents that mention Death God and have Ryuk's face in it, right? Something a friend of mine had told me before I watched this is that he thought L had more emotion than he had before, and I kind of see that, like, when he's talking to Light here. It's interesting. It's different. He seems more proactive. He seems more active on the front lines than being behind the scenes. And that means this man right here is Watari. We see him in another shot. Oh, look at that shot of Ryuk. Cool. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, because in the original and like in the manga, his hands are also like black, like this leathery. In the manga, it looked like flesh, but I don't know. Where is it? This is also like, you know, a big action piece like this. I'm curious about that too. Like how does that go down? It's definitely different. This is not your father's Death Note. It's not yours either. Look at that. Ooh, Ryuk. Where was it? It was while Elle was like speaking. Oh, there it is. That's Watari right there. Interesting. And I wonder if this might be Light's dad. And I don't know what his name is in this movie, because Light is still Light, but it's Light Turner. So his dad's name, I don't know what it could be. And of course there isn't a Misa. There is a girl from his school, Mia Sutton, or Sutton, whatever. And she seems like she's very much involved in this, so she's probably not going to get her own Death Note. Maybe it's just going to be, you know, they're just friends, and she's interested in. Maybe she is still interested in like the occult, and you know, being that goth girl. She might still be that. And so that's why she's interested in this Death Note and all this stuff, because it's like, you know, death, dark, and all that, the color black. So interesting. But yeah, that's so cool. Interesting. I'm definitely gonna watch this because I'm interested. I'm a fan of Death Note. I want this to be good. That's the thing. You're not gonna go into this, and if you're already hating, if you're already hating on this, why are you gonna go into this wanting this to fail? You know what I'm saying? Like, you want this to do well. Otherwise, you're not gonna get that anime adaptation you want. That's 1-to-1, right? Which is never gonna happen. There's never gonna be an adaptation that's 1-to-1 just like the original. The closest thing I could think of, maybe Watchmen, right? Even then they changed some things. So Death Note, I'm excited for this because one, I want to see what happens. Two, it does look good. It looks fun. I want to watch it. And three, my friend's in it, so I want to support him too. I want to see what Ryuk looks like just straight up, like take him out of the shadows. I mean, this looks like it's predominantly in the night, but I want to see some shots of Ryuk where we see his face just full on. I want to see this. I want to see this dude. But yeah, interesting. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if you like this, be sure to like this video. You know, thumbs it up, subscribe, all that jazz. And I want to talk more about this movie, so stay tuned for that when I talk more about this movie. It's Death Note. See ya.